Welcome back, guys. My name is Chris Patrick, and today we're going to work on part 2 of our street stock series. So come along, we're going to do all of the body mounts and do some suspension work to get this buggy ready for some racing. So now that we've got you guys brought to the bench, we are going to start by doing some installation of our McAllister street stock mounting kit. So it does not come with any kind of instructions or anything. I would advise possibly going to their website and look at how some things are set up. If you get kind of confused, it may take me a minute to figure it out, but the first things first, from the way that I understand it, is you start with a couple bags, and you start with actually the one that's labeled front, and it's a little C block, and this block gets mounted on your front shock tower, to be specific. So grab your tools, whatever your tool choice is. So in my case, I'm going to use my Menards special power tool and my team associated toolkit that I've got. What size is this? I believe they're 2mm. Yeah, it should be 2s. And then open up your front bag that you've got. And this particular piece is going to mount, I believe, upside down, like so. So it should contour with that, but what this is going to do is give you space to mount your front bumper, which is mounting onto here like so. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So it includes 2 smaller recessed screws. Those are the ones that are going to go on the inside of your bracket, so they're flush. So you start with these 2, and you install your bracket like so, and then you take your 2 nuts and go ahead and mount these up. If you got a nut driver, feel free to use it. I have the J-Concepts shock tower thumb screw somewhere around here. There it is. It's kind of hidden. And then this piece gets mounted just like so. And it's going to use the two longer ones that's inside the kit. And then with this, I'm going to suggest don't go all the way with them. Not yet anyway. Just kind of get them semi-snug. Because if you need to move some stuff around, get a little bit more clearance on one side or another, then you have that flexibility. It's just like you noticed. I went a little too tight. So now it gives me a little bit of room that front piece wiggles around a little bit. So flip it over, then the next piece that's going to come off is going to be your front bumper. You could actually take that bumper off before you started. That might have been the correct order, but next piece that's going to get mounted is going to be your front bracket that's going to go along with this. And this should take 4 screws. So I'm missing a couple. So we're going to take these 2 off. That's 1. I believe they suggested of the options of going with an 18mm screw here. I don't really see the need for it, especially if you're going to use all 4, because there's still plenty of length on this screw. But we're going to try it with just what I've got already on here. Trying to record and see at the same time is not easy. I think these will be more than adequate for length. Now these are fixed locations, so I'm going to suggest go ahead and tighten these down pretty good, because these are not going to move at all off of your front caster blocks. So notice we're a little off center and things are not lining up. That's one of the reasons why I was suggesting leave this top plate a little on the loose side, so you can finagle some things around to make it line up and do what you need it to do. So the next step to this is going to be using some of your hardware that you've got. So we've got 2 longer screws, 2 shorter screws, and 4 bolts. So now is the time that you are going to want to combine these 2 pieces together. They are slotted, but the bottom is notched for each, or sorry, the top is slotted and you've got individual holes. So find out which one fits your particular application. So mine is the full inside closest hole. Go ahead and pop both of those in. Like I said, farthest inside hole, and then you're going to take 2 lock nuts and do that on both sides. You do not have to use this tool. You can use just a standard whatever you want. It does not matter. Just as long as you get them tight, that's all that matters. Okay, so now we got the mount to the car. Now we're going to go ahead and secure these two front screws all the way. There we go. So the front end is almost complete. The last step that we've got is going to be our front bumper. You can mount this on top or you can mount it underneath. Seems to be the most common position is underneath. And then the last step would be mounting our body posts to this. Now the key takeaway to this, and it's kind of hard to see, is you've got recessed holes on this side. You want those on the bottom, so when you go to put your screws in from the bottom for your body post to mount on top, that they sit nice and flush on this plastic. And we are going to mount this, for now I'm going to mount it as far forward as it's going to get. This will give us the adjustment that we need to move this forward or backwards towards the chassis, depending on the wheelbase of the body. We'll get to that part in another video, but for the time being, let's go ahead and get these mounted, like I said, all the way to the front on both sides. And all of these pieces are off of the McAllister kit, so nothing here has been modified. The only piece that you have removed from your buggy was the front bumper, which you don't need because everything is being replaced with all of this. So this acts as a bumper and a body mount kit, both for your B6. So let's go ahead and mount this up. There we go. So the front end is almost complete. Last step that we have is going to be our body posts. So we'll go ahead and open up this bag. I'll dump this right here in front of the camera. So I've got two screws, you've got two recesses that are going to go inside of your post. That way it keeps your stops from sliding up and down. But again, I don't know where these need to be, so we're going to put them on the farthest forward position for the time being, temporarily. And then, so stand your buggy up on one end, hold your body post. And this one I believe is going to be a lot smaller. I think these are going to be, let me see here. I don't think they're 1.5s. Yeah, they are. 1.5 millimeters. Let's go ahead, get that mounted up. Now you got a tip you could use to keep these from spinning. You could actually use a really small Allen wrench. That's pretty much what I would suggest. Anything small that'll go through, that'll keep it from spinning as you tighten it. So then the other tech tip that I'm going to give you, pay attention to your post. A lot of times you're going to want your body clips in sideways. That way it's kind of nice and uniform, but also it actually helps protect your body. Sometimes if you try to put them from front to rear, the body contours of the plastic seems to not play very well to some of that, and they tend to fracture from what I've seen from my old days of racing. Now, new bodies may not be that way, but we'll see. So screw. There you go. So now our front end is completed. So we've got everything mounted the way it was intended for our bumper supports, both the bottom and top, the front bumper, and our body mounts. So let's get reset up. Oh, sorry, almost forgot. So we got to put our retainers on here. So like I said, these are just little recessed screws, and these are tiny. I think they're even smaller. Yeah, these are 0.5 millimeters recessed screws. And these will slide onto your desired height that you're looking for. It's not really, you don't have to do it on this step this early because we don't know where this is going to fall into play. So I'm just going to put them on extremely low for the time being. That way I don't lose the parts. It's a little bit easier to keep track. Go ahead and get them secured. Caution using power tools and plastic. You can strip them very easy, so be careful. It's common sense, guys. So let me go ahead and we will, I have to grab another tool, so let me get reset, get a little bit cleaned up, and then we're going to go over the back end, guys. I'll be right back. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I went ahead and opened up our rear bag that came in our kit, and inside the kit we've got our arm, we've got 2 screws, and 2 washers. So the way this particular kit works is it replaces and mounts onto our rear spoiler mounts. So take off your 2 screws that holds these on, and I believe the inserts are going to stay, if my memory is correct. We're going to find out together, because honestly I'm not sure. These, actually no, I think these come off. So take the inserts off with it, and you have to remember, one side is contoured, one side is not. So you want the contoured side to face down, and then you want it so that the rear curves towards the back. So this should, so no, it does not. Didn't think so. Okay, so you do need your little caps. This is just to kind of make sure that it sits flush. You may not have to put these on, but I'm going to. And then these 2 screws with the 2 washers. This is what you're going to use to install them. I believe these are 2 millimeters, which they are. And this is for both sides on the back tower. Okay, so now that we've got our mount mounted and secured to our rear wing posts, the last step to our installation kit that came from Macklin Racing is our actual body mounts for the rear. So just like the front, you're going to start on one end and go from there. So 1 small screw and your body post comes in. And this will be for both sides, just like we did on the front. I believe These are going to be the smaller 1.5 millimeter screws. That's one side. The nice thing with this kit is if your body doesn't have so much on the back, you can rotate this bracket. It'll slide it just a little bit farther forward, which is kind of nice. The kit gives you a little bit more of a flexibility of mounting locations, which is really, in my opinion, I kind of enjoy that feature. I would say it's important because you just don't know how it's going to mount very well to your body. But so yeah, so that is the installation kit for how to convert body-wise and mounts for a street stock using the McAllister kit. The next step on what I'm going to do, the next piece that I'm going to do isn't really a requirement, but I can tell you from experience, especially oval racing, sometimes you have to understand cars are really close to each other on RC tracks, especially on oval racing. Off-road dirt, maybe not as much. You're not going to really rear end another car as common as you would if you was on oval racing. So there's really nothing protecting the back end of the body, which is why I went with the RPM body mount, or sorry, bumper for the Stampede and the Rustler. You can buy the OEM version if you want, but that's kind of overkill. So flip it over and then get the last two screws out, and I believe these are going to be 2 millimeters, just like everything else has been so far, or for the most part anyway. Now this might be a little bit of a pickle because these are full of gunk. Okay, let me deal with this off camera. I'll bring you guys back. Okay, I was able to get the screws out. The rear bumper has been removed from the buggy. So once you get the bumper out, here's the concept of what you have to understand. This is going to get mounted just underneath here. You want it close enough to the back so that way you're not all the way towards the edge, but you don't want to go too far because it's going to interfere with your arms. So pay attention to that. So what you're going to do is set this down as if it was going to sit on your buggy, and then the same thing with your, so it's going to go like so, and then you're going to take your bumper and you're going to do the same thing and sit here and look at it. So what you're going to do is set the recess on these so they're almost identical, and what you do is you take your bumper and flip it over and set it down right next to it, on it, get it nice and centered where you like it. So I'm going to say right there, and then you're going to take a body reamer and poke 2 holes. You're going to have one there, and you're going to have one on the other side. Once you get these 2 marks set, then you know these are where your holes are going to go. And then you can use a small drill if you want. You can use a body reamer, whatever your preference is. If I had a better handheld drill, I would do that. But I'm going to do this by hand using this body reamer just to show you that it can be done. Just takes a little bit of time, patience, and you will get through this without a problem. I'm already through on the back end. So go flip it over. And all you're trying to do is remove just a little bit of plastic. Don't have to go crazy with it. You just got to get your plastic screw through this hole. Won't take much. because honestly, the tighter fit you get with this, especially when you go to install your screw, the tighter this bumper is going to mount to your body, or to your frame, I should say. So do this a few minutes. That's probably good enough. So let's go ahead and do the other side. Probably close. So take one of your screws and go ahead, flip your bracket over, and let's install one and see how well this looks. So that one's in. And that one's in. So you can, in theory, take this bumper, put it back in. I would say, if you want to, go ahead. I'm going to, just because it's going to add the rigidity that I feel that back end is going to need, because if you don't have it, it may not fit. The other option is you could take a Dremel and notch these out and get this to slide in there. If that's the case that you want to go, more power to you. I honestly don't think you're going to need it, because the clearance of the vehicle itself should be enough. If I find out that this does not work and I run into some clearance issues, then I will let you know in the comment section down below. But I don't see why this won't work. So, yes, I know, looks a little odd sticking down there, but it's going to serve the purpose of protecting this back end. So you see what I'm talking about. By the time you add some tires, so I'm going to give you an example of ride height and stuff. So by the time you set some tires on here, obviously the ride height is going to be a little bit lower, but you get the concept of what I mean, that I don't think that bracket will be in any way impeding performance by dragging, rubbing, or any kind of craziness. I personally just don't see it happening. So, but yeah, let's go ahead, get some tires on this thing, so that way you can see what it looks like. So there you guys go. So back is all done. So that, my friends, is how you install a McAllister Racing body mount kit for a street stock B6.1 buggy. It took us, what? A half hour? Maybe at the most, and that's me using all my regular tools that you should already own. Nothing special to do it. You should already have a body reamer to do the RPM rear bumper. If you don't, I highly suggest it because you're going to need it to drill the holes for your body anyway. So with that, we're going to wrap this video up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know down low what you guys think of this project so far. I'm super excited, and I'm going to have some special reveal for the body. And we're going to talk about the body a little bit and do some suspension work on this on our next video. So stay tuned, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Later, guys.